Why do mosquitoes keep showing up around you just when you're feeling low, tired, or off balance? What if these tiny creatures weren't just a physical nuisance but a spiritual warning? Asterisk, it begins with a flicker in your awareness. A buzz near your ear, a sting on your skin. You swat at the air, frustrated, wondering how such a tiny creature can cause such a strong reaction. But what if that mosquito wasn't just a nuisance? What if its sudden and repeated presence carried a deeper message? One that your physical body reacts to but your spiritual body needs to hear. In the world of energy and symbolic interpretation, the mosquito is not just a biting insect. It's a messenger, a warning, a call to look closer at the energies surrounding you. In spiritual terms, seeing mosquitoes repeatedly can be an indication that something or someone is draining your energy. You might feel unusually tired, mentally foggy, emotionally heavy, or constantly on edge, and yet you can't explain why. But the mosquito can. In many ancient cultures, insects were seen as spiritual indicators. Not just creatures of instinct, but mirrors of the unseen. Mosquitoes in particular were linked to the idea of energy vampirism, a situation or person that feeds off your light, your attention, your emotional openness without giving anything in return. Think about it. A mosquito approaches silently, waits for the moment you're vulnerable, and takes without asking. That is the energetic metaphor. That is the spiritual alert. If you've been surrounded by people who leave you feeling empty after every conversation, if you've noticed that certain spaces drain you the moment you enter them, if your inner peace has been under quiet attack, then the mosquito may be trying to show you what your intuition already knows, that your boundaries are being tested, that your energy is being accessed in ways you haven't consented to. Spiritually, mosquitoes also signal imbalance. They're drawn to stagnant water, to environments where energy doesn't move freely. If you keep seeing mosquitoes, especially in moments of stress, fatigue, or conflict, it may be a sign that your energetic field needs cleansing. That old emotions, suppressed thoughts, or unresolved conflicts are creating a kind of spiritual humidity that attracts negative energy. Just like mosquitoes are drawn to still water and body heat, have you been bottling up emotions? Have you been holding back your truth to keep the peace? Have you been neglecting your own needs while tending to everyone else's? These are the exact conditions where energy imbalance thrives and where the mosquito's message becomes loudest, but there's more. Mosquitoes are also triggers. They provoke you, irritate you. They force a response. And spiritually, this can be symbolic of something in your life that you've been avoiding or refusing to confront. The annoyance of a mosquito mirrors the emotional agitation you might be experiencing subconsciously. It says, you can't ignore this anymore. The bite of a mosquito leaves a mark, itchy, persistent, inflamed. It's a wound that lingers even after the act is over. Just like certain conversations, certain relationships, certain memories. The energetic wound may be small, but it's irritating enough to demand your attention. And maybe that's why the mosquito has appeared again, and again, and again, to hurt you, to wake you up, because sometimes it takes a sting to realize you're too exposed. Sometimes it takes a buzz to notice you've been silent for too long, and sometimes the smallest presence carries the biggest message. Asterisk, if this message is stirring something inside you, don't swat it away. Keep listening. The mosquito may be trying to reveal what your soul has been sensing all along. If you've ever noticed that mosquitoes seem to find you more than others or appear more often when you're emotionally overwhelmed, it's time to consider that their message isn't just about environment or biology. It's about energy. Mosquitoes are drawn to heat, to vibration, to carbon dioxide, but spiritually, they are drawn to disruption. When your field is wide open, when your thoughts are scattered, when your emotions are running in loops, these creatures arrive as both a symptom and a signal. Think of the last time you were deeply tired or mentally exhausted and suddenly mosquitoes swarmed around. Were you in a place where the air felt heavy? Did your body feel like it was carrying a weight not entirely your own? That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Your energy attracts mirrors, and the mosquito is one of the loudest mirrors of depletion. In many spiritual teachings, These small creatures act as reminders of the micro-intrusions we tolerate daily. The interruptions, the distractions, the demands, the guilt, the silent compromises. And each bite is symbolic of a tiny energetic cost. One that adds up. One that, if ignored, eventually drains you dry. Sometimes the message isn't about others, it's about you. Are you allowing your energy to be scattered across too many obligations? Are you leaking your focus to things that don't serve you? Are you failing to guard your inner peace not out of weakness, but out of a lifelong habit of self-neglect? The mosquito becomes the embodiment of these patterns. It forces you to react, to shield, to set boundaries. In this way, it is not an enemy, it is an initiator, a teacher. It reminds you of your sacred right to protect your field, to say no, to cleanse, to reclaim your energy with fierce love. Some spiritual interpretations also view the mosquito as a sign of a toxic spiritual environment, places, or people that pretend to nourish you but secretly feed on your insecurities, fears, or hopes. If you've been surrounded by energy that feels almost right, but never fully safe, the recurring presence of mosquitoes may be confirmation of what you haven't wanted to admit. They whisper, "This isn't for you." They repeat, "You are being taken from." They warn, "You are leaking more than you think." And the moment you start to treat these encounters not with frustration, but with curiosity, everything changes. You begin to ask new questions. Why now? Why here? What does my energy feel like today, and who have I allowed to touch it? The mosquito invites you to develop spiritual hygiene, to cleanse not just your body, but your aura, to purge emotional toxins the same way you would clear stagnant water so nothing unwanted can breed there. Smudging, salt baths, intentional breath work, sacred boundaries, even silence, these are your repellents. These are your shields. When you keep seeing mosquitoes, it may also indicate that your intuition is trying to sharpen, that you're stepping into a season of refinement where your sensitivity is increasing, not as a weakness, but as a power. Your body feels more, your energy reacts faster, and just like mosquitoes are sensitive to heat and scent, your soul is becoming more attuned to vibration. Use this gift. Don't numb it, because here's the deeper truth. The more aligned you become, the less welcome certain energies will feel around you. And the mosquito? It may arrive simply to prove that you've outgrown a frequency. Asterisk, if you're starting to realize the mosquito's message wasn't random, it's because your awareness is expanding. Stay with this. The next part may show you how to transmute the sting into strength. And so the question becomes, what will you do with the message? Once you realize that the mosquito is not just a body in flight, but a symbol of drain, of warning, of imbalance, how will you respond? There's a moment in every spiritual journey when the signs become unavoidable. Not because they weren't there before, but because you finally opened your eyes wide enough to see them. The mosquito doesn't just show up when the body is still. It shows up when the spirit is being stretched, when you are moving from one state of consciousness to another. And with every sting it asks, what are you still allowing to bite into your energy? Sometimes it's not people or places that drain us. Sometimes it's old stories, old habits, unhealed wounds. The mosquito's appearance can be a call to self-inquiry, to ask, what beliefs am I still holding on to that no longer serve the person I'm becoming? Every tiny bite can represent a thought pattern and internal parasite that must now be removed. Energetically, the mosquito also invites a reclamation of spiritual authority. You are not meant to be passive in the presence of energetic disturbance. You are not here to be consumed. You are here to radiate, to expand, to refine. And the moment you accept that truth, the presence of mosquitoes shifts from a frustration into a signal of empowerment. It says, clean your space, protect your light, honor your boundaries. It reminds you that nothing small can enter. Where light is maintained, it invites you to look at your own frequency, not with shame, but with sacred responsibility. Because when you elevate your vibration, even the things that once haunted you fade. This is not about fearing the mosquito, it's about understanding it. Seeing it as a mirror, a messenger, and at times, a metaphor for transformation. In the end, spiritual clarity is never quiet. It arrives through experiences that challenge you, that provoke you, that force you to wake up. So if the mosquito has been buzzing around you literally or energetically, don't ignore it. It may be trying to initiate a new version of you, a version that doesn't entertain chaos, that doesn't allow emotional leeches, that doesn't give sacred energy to anything that doesn't feed your growth. This is not paranoia. This is perception, because spiritual warfare doesn't always look like demons. Sometimes it looks like repeated exhaustion, a constant sense of giving, a subtle, quiet erosion of peace. And the mosquito, in all its tiny persistence, comes as an alarm bell, saying, you are too important to leak like this. You are allowed to shield your space. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to become the kind of person that mosquitoes, both physical and energetic, no longer recognize. This is your reminder. You are not a victim of your environment. You are the sculptor of it. And the mosquito? It was only ever trying to show you what needed to change. Asterisk, if this message found you at the right time, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's been feeling drained, scattered, or spiritually exposed. And tell us in the comments, what energy are you ready to reclaim? Hit the bell. Subscribe for more messages that transform the way you see your energy and the world around you.